Okay, let me ask you something. Why do we hide our flaws? I mean, think about it. It's an instinct we all share, right? But what if I told you the answer to why we do it actually holds the absolute secret to human evolution? Today, we're going on a fascinating journey that takes us from the deepest invisible layers of cosmic consciousness right down into the hidden psychology of why we act the exact way we do.
Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep, and I mean really deep, into the unseen mechanics of reality. We're looking at episode 10 of Nazraya-e-Rung-o-Noor, an incredibly profound work by Hazrat Khawaja Shamsuddin Azeemi. Our goal here is to break down these really complex spiritual physics into clear, everyday concepts. We're going to explore the universe's incredible speed, the illusion of solidity, and what really makes humans distinct. So here's our map of the unseen for today. We're going to cover the 4 levels of the universe, the circulation of space and time, vacuum and conscious, distinct human nature, the 6 circles of perception, and finally wrap up with speed and miracles. Let's get right into it.
All right, starting with part 1, the 4 levels of the universe, or what we'll call the cosmic descent. You know, nothing just magically appears in our physical world out of thin air. Absolutely nothing. Every single thing in the universe actually has to pass sequentially through 4 specific levels of consciousness before it can even physically exist. It starts way, way down deep at the beyond unconscious level. Then it steps up into the unconscious, takes an actual shape as conception or consciousness, and only then does it finally drop into manifestation, which is our physical, tangible world. It's literally consciousness descending into matter. Moving on to section 2, the circulation of space and time. This is where we look at the actual mechanics of reality.
Okay, so reality is actually constructed by 2 very specific types of movement. First, you have longitudinal movement, which is just moving forward, right? That forward movement actually creates time. Meanwhile, axial movement, which is spinning around a center point, is what creates space.
To make this kind of mind-bending physics perfectly understandable, just picture a spinning top. Seriously, picture it in your head. As that top moves forward across the floor, that forward motion, that represents time passing, seconds, minutes, hours. But at the exact same time, it's spinning incredibly fast in circles on its own axis. That circular spin is what creates space. Literally everything in the universe, from a microscopic atom to a massive star, is caught in this exact dual movement. That is what mathematically constructs the space-time we live in. Pretty wild, right?
Which brings us to section 3, vacuum and human conscience, and the illusion of solidity.
Now, we all tend to trust what we can touch. If it feels solid, it must be real, right? But since our physical world is that final 4th level of consciousness we talked about earlier, it's actually the most superficial and unstable level of all. What we perceive as perfectly solid actually contains massive, completely invisible vacuums. In fact, the denser a thing appears to be, the more vacuum it actually holds inside. If you were to look at a seemingly solid brick with spiritual sight, you'd see it's completely full of large holes. And a massive, immovable mountain, it's actually hollowed out with giant caves. The solidity is totally an illusion.
So, what actually fills these giant cosmic vacuums in our human experience? Well, it's our conscience. Conscience is this incredibly vital, spiritual drive that rushes in to fill the emptiness of the physical realm. It's that undeniable inner force that specifically pushes us toward constructive living, positive growth, and just wanting to be better. And that instinct for continuous improvement brings us right into section 4, distinct human nature. Let's finally answer that big question we opened with.
So why do we hide our flaws? To really get this, let's contrast humans with animals. An animal's actions are completely fixed. A lion isn't hiding a secret agenda. Its nature is 100% exposed to the other animals. Humans, on the other hand, intuitively know that other people can't see our inner secrets. Because of that, we constantly, obsessively hide our flaws, striving to project this idealized, perfect image to everyone around us. But here is the real evolutionary secret. The very act of hiding our flaws creates this profound, deep-seated psychological desire for perfection. We actually want to be as perfect as that fake image we project. And this deeply embedded desire, it's the absolute engine driving human evolution. It's exactly what pushes humanity to search for new paths, to invent crazy new technologies, to create sciences, and to endlessly attempt to understand the universe. But, in our total rush to figure everything out, we often just settle for really superficial labels.
The mystic poet Kabir Das hit the nail on the head when he pointed out the irony in how humans name things. For instance, calling a complex, multi-layered fruit an orange just based on the color of its peel, or taking the rich, reduced essence of milk and calling it koya, which literally translates to lost. He laments how we mistakenly label these profound realities based entirely on superficial, surface-level assumptions. It's a great reminder to always look for the deeper truth. So, how do we actually perceive those deeper truths? Let's check out Section 5, the 6 Circles of Perception, and explore the insane speed of the universe. Let's say you're looking at something simple, like a glass of water. You actually don't just see it instantly. Your perception has to travel through these incredibly rapid stages. It starts out as wahima, which is just an indescribable, vague illusion. Then it deepens into khayal, kind of a mental outline. That outline solidifies into tasawwur, a really deep conception. And finally, it drops into asas, which is the actual physical sensation where you can touch and see the glass. Now strap in, because here is where it gets totally wild. This entire cycle, all the way from a vague cosmic illusion down into solid physical manifestation, it happens in just 1/1000th of a second. 1/1000th. And it repeats constantly, over and over, descending and ascending, literally recreating that object in front of your eyes continuously. Think about what that means. It means nothing in the universe is static. Nothing is still. Zero. We only perceive that glass, or a table, or a massive mountain as still because of the extreme, blinding speed of this continuous creation and recreation. If the universe were to actually stop, even for a fraction of a millisecond, everything would just instantly vanish. The stillness you see is just a complete illusion born of pure, blinding cosmic speed. All right, which brings us to our final section, the universe's speed and miracles. Let's look at the ultimate manifestation of this knowledge. Once you grasp how these descending levels of consciousness actually work, the difference between human science and divine miracles becomes super clear. Look, scientific inventions are amazing, obviously, but they rely entirely on tapping into that second level of consciousness we mentioned, the unconscious mind. And because of that, they will always require physical resources. A machine needs actual parts, right? Miracles, however, arise from a much higher third level of consciousness, the knowledge of prophethood. And the defining feature of a true miracle is that it is completely, 100% independent of worldly resources.
Consider the miracles of Prophet Isa, or Jesus, peace be upon him, restoring sight to the blind, growing hair on the bald, curing leprosy with literally just a touch. These are prime examples of this highest consciousness in action. It's pure, formless energy. These acts bypassed physical elements entirely. They didn't require medical tools or resources or recovery time. They were direct manifestations from the absolute deepest cosmic levels, totally bypassing the slow, clunky physical laws that the rest of us are bound by. Which leaves us with this final thought to chew on. If the solid physical world you interact with every single day is actually moving so incredibly fast that it merely appears static, what unseen realities, what profound spiritual mechanics are currently hiding just beneath the surface of your own consciousness? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope it completely shifts how you view the solid world around you. Catch you next time.